What's up, everybody? It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and we are back for the season start special. But we can't start the season without the Mondays with Mikey and Murf song without any audio. So let's do it. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt. It's kind of a cool Raider talk show. We're going to have good times. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mikey here from Raider Central Live. We got my good pal Murf from Raiders Fan Radio and the One Nation Foundation, where hopefully more than 3 or 4 times this season we get together on a Monday and talk Raider football. Murf, what's going on in your life? Tell everybody hello.
Hello, Raider Nation. It's great to be back here for another episode of Mondays with Mikey and Murf. And so it's been an exciting off season and now preseason, and looking forward to get the regular season up and running. But we got one more preseason game left, and we'll be thankful to be out there in Vegas for the game on Friday as we go up against the stupid freaking the whiners there. But it'll be a great day because we're going to be taking a bunch of underprivileged kids and their parental figures to a Raider game, and also providing them with a tailgate experience with our one of our charities that we support, Raider Dad. And so we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting the season underway. And I'm stoked to be back here for Mondays with Mikey Murf.
Yeah, man, I'd like to sit here and talk a little bit, but we started a little bit late. We had a little bit of technical issues because your boy Mikey Raider is a broke joke and still needs a new computer. So if you guys can consider super chatting, donating, hooking a brother up, I would truly appreciate it. Please hit that thumbs up, that like button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for early and exclusive content. Please support Murf as well. All information will be on screen during the show and in the description to get a hold of Murf and support him and his amazing charities. And Murf, I didn't go without notice seeing you wearing the Minshue Mania shirt, and I got the number 15 in the background. Are we going to do this thing this year? Are we starting Minshue Mania officially on this podcast?
Minshue Mania is officially underway, and I think that anybody that doesn't embrace it, you're going to miss out on a heck of a fun ride. I know we're going to talk a lot about quarterbacks coming up here, so I'll save you the big rant and the big takes on Gardner Minshew. But man, I think this is going to be an exciting and a fun season of Raider football.
That's right. I'm getting ready. And remember, Goonies never say die.
Damn right.
They should actually never say divide, because Raider Nation is divided with everything nowadays, and we got to bring back the fun and the winning culture. And this is going to be, hopefully, a optimistic show, because your boy Mikey Raider tends to talk about the negativity, go towards the worst things. But I promise you, we are still going to have some of those topics, but we're going to end every topic with an optimistic point of view.
I got you. Yeah, well, if you want an optimistic point of view, you got the right guy, because I'm relentlessly optimistic, especially when it comes to the Raiders. And, Mikey, I had this thought the other day. It's like, where does that come from? And it's like, I just want it so bad. I want it so bad for the Raiders. I want it so bad for Raider Nation that it just thrusts me into this position of being a relentless optimist, and I'm going to be optimistic until there's reason to be proven otherwise. I was optimistic when Josh McDaniels was around until I was given a reason to not be anymore. I was optimistic when Jack Del Rio was around until I was given a reason to not be anymore. Well, so far, Antonio Pierce and this Raiders team has not given me a reason yet to be pessimistic. So until that happens, we're going to be rooting for the best thing and the best possible outcomes.
Yes, we are all diehard Raider fans, and we get negative and pissed off at many times, and we just want a winning culture. But how do we do that? Hopefully, we bring that positive energy spirit, and we let the satanic divide that rules this nation nowadays, we leave that to the side, and we bring our family and our brotherhood, and we hang out and pet our cute little puppies.
Come here, Bum. Come here. Show your face. Come here.
Such a cute baby.
Come here.
No, he's good. Look at it.
Boy. Yeah, he's a big old.
He wanted to get some of that Minshue. Wanted to get some of that Minshue Mania love.
Yeah, he did. All right,
you're not get some of that Minshue Mania love. All right, Murph, guess what? It's time for the headlines, the topics that hopefully give me bread lines. And you know what, Murph?
You hate to pay rent.
My rent. I hate to pay my fucking rent. My God, it's just why is there something called rent? Why shouldn't everybody just have a home for free of charge? Nature's our home. All right, let's move on. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for chiming in. Please hit up that chat room. Quickly, I did want to say for every $5 in Super Chat, or if you become a member, it gets you one entry into a raffle to win a jersey just like that of Amari Cooper. And it supports my channel as well. So you get one entry per $5 Super Chat or any new memberships. Let's get on with the topics.
I see my baby's in there. What's up, baby?
Oh, all right. We'll get some of those comments from there before. Does she got a friend? Mikey Rader's still lonely.
Let's see what we can do, Mikey.
All right. We all know what happened with the quarterback situation the other day, but I kind of want to ask the question, did Antonio Pierce pick the quarterback winner too quickly? And maybe not let him play in this third preseason game? Because from my knowledge, I had them kind of even. If we're going by camp competition, I actually had them even after the 2 games. So now let's get your perspective, and then I'll give my complete answer after. Did the Raiders and AP pick a quarterback winner too quickly?
I don't think so, man. I think you got to go with the hotter hand. And Minshue clearly proved, not clearly. I'm with you. There's definitely positives for both. But when you look at the big play potential of Gardner Minshew, yes, that there's the opposite as well. There's the potential for a lot of third and longs as well. But I think when you look at the big play potential, Al Davis said it best. He said, we're not looking for first downs. We're looking for touchdowns. And so that whole idea of, the Raiders wanting to be an explosive unit, put some points on the board, limit the turnovers, protect the ball, convert on third downs, score in the red zone, those kinds of things. As long as the Raiders are able to do that, you let that defense go to work. And I think a lot of good things are going to happen. So, I think that Minshue is the right choice. We've been leaning that way all offseason, and that's not a knock against Aiden. And Aiden did the best of considering the conditions that he was thrust into last year. But listen, man, he's just so limited on a lot of things, and mobility being the most glaring of them. And so I think that you got to give the nod to Minshue, and I think he made the right choice.
Yeah. I kind of wish that they would have played a third preseason game and they didn't make the winner too quickly, because I have the memories of Derek Carr, who was allowed to play in that third preseason game, even though they had 4 at the time. But Derek Carr won it outright. Like, we literally saw everything he had. And I just remember that game, and I was like, man, that's going to be our quarterback. And he eventually was when he beat out Matt Flynn. So with this competition, I understand Minshew has, a track record. He has video footage. He's been a starter for teams. He won 9 games with the Colts last year in a starting position, and they almost made the playoffs. So he has the run up. But AP said it was a camp competition, and a lot of people were rooting for Aiden O'Connell, and I thought it was even. So I kind of wanted AP to go against his word and say, you know what? I'm gonna give him one more week. This is the week. That's it.
I don't think he needed it, though. Frankly, his mind was probably made up weeks ago. And I think that he gave Aiden a fair shot, as he should have, being the incumbent quarterback that he was, and he said that it was his job to not to lose. That's not the right terminology, but he said that, Aiden's the guy. He was the guy in 2023 and he's the guy in 2024 until something changes. And so, they're looking at these guys. Here's the thing that sometimes as fans, I think a lot of times we miss. We forget that a couple of things is that, number one, coaches, GMs, their literal livelihoods and legacies in this sport are on the line. So they're going to make the best decision possible. The other part of that too, Mikey, is that they look at these guys every day in practice. They see both quarterbacks going at it every day in practice. And there are probably some things that they're seeing that we don't see as fans as they're watching these guys in practice. And then actually there's even a third thing. There's the endorsement of the team. You'd think that Davante Adams didn't have a voice in this. And when going back a few weeks ago, we heard Davante making comments about the telepathy and the connection that he has with Gardner Minshew when things would start to break down. It was time to improvise. Those things that I'm not comparing Gardner Minshew to Aaron Rodgers, but those same similar concepts is that's what he and Aaron did so well. And so here we have that same type of connection. Again, different quarterback, different quality of quarterback, but that same kind of connection. So you don't think he was a large voice in that? I think that that's a mistake. So if the players are behind the choice, the GM is behind the choice, and the coaching staff is behind the choice, then what do we as fans have to criticize? I'm like, and I went into this thing fully like embracing whatever decision they made. Like, I'm a Raider fan. I'm not a player fan. So I don't care who they put in there. He's going to get my full support as a fan for whatever that's worth. So that idea, though, is if this is the person that they chose, well, then okay, then that's the damn choice. And to be disappointed by it or to think that, they should have done something different, I think that's a little overvaluing our opinion and our capability to be able to evaluate the situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that I've been reading because I love that stuff. I'm not going to get into them, but some people were questioning why Aiden was left in the game, after he scored the touchdown, that they wanted him to fail so they can make Gardner Minshew the quarterback. Because the reporters in the offseason and during training camp were reporting that Aiden O'Connell was the favorite, and that they weren't really doing much, but Aiden O'Connell was the favorite. So a lot of people in Raider Nation, because he was drafted by the Raiders, and we are rooting for that kid as a legacy player to be a member of the Raiders, the reporters got a lot of them up in arms. So when Antonio Pierce made that pick, some people online, like, everybody gets mad, but they were just like, "Oh, I thought it was Aiden O'Connell was leading." So kind of makes the reporters like, did they amp us up and create a divide again? Because technically, for a lot of us, we knew when they signed Minshew and didn't draft a quarterback that he's probably the guy, and Aiden O'Connell has a lot of upside, and he's going to be on the team for 2 or 3 years learning. So I predicted Minshew to be the quarterback many months ago. But these damn reporters, man, Hondo Carpenter specifically, just talked up Aiden O'Connell, and he got a lot of people leaning the other way. And I'm just mad about that divide because you and me knew it was Minshew. $15 million guaranteed. We know it's him.
Yeah, I want to choose my words carefully here because I have a lot of respect for some members of the media, not all of them. And there are some that I don't care for their style of reporting. It even goes back to a lot of them are for the local folks, a lot of sour grapes going back to when the team was in Oakland. But that said, I trust my investment in this team more than anything else. And so, and follow me on this, Raider Nation. Nowadays, the Raiders themselves put so much out there, from press conferences to, behind the scenes videos, mic'd ups, all that kind of stuff. The Raiders themselves put a ton out there. If you follow that along with the decision making, you can come to your own critically thought through analysis of what you think is going to happen. Here lies why the reason that I made up Minshue Mania t-shirts 2 months ago. Okay. So, because I can see, I don't need Hondo Carpenter to form my opinion. I don't need, Vinny Bond Sr. or Deshaun Reed, this is not disrespectful to those guys. They have a job to do. They are in the room and they're reporting what they're seeing and hearing. But here's the dirty little secret. We see and hear the same things they are. They're just forming it into a thought and a lot of times an opinion, sometimes agenda driven, and putting it in an article because that's they get paid. So I'm just saying, like, when you look at it, I don't listen to Hondo. I don't listen to Colin Cowherd. I don't listen to whoever, PFF. I don't listen to any of them. I take all those notes and things into context, but I don't listen to other YouTubers. Scott Gilbranson and Mo Moten. I love those guys. but I don't take their opinion as the be all end all whenever I listen to a Silver and Black Today episode. I listen to it because it's entertaining, because I like those guys. But my whole point of this, Raider Nation, is that if you take in all the news then and dismiss what the Raiders are actually telling you, no, don't do that. Same thing with politics or anything else. Go to the source, listen to the source, consider how that impacts you, right? And your fandom or whatever you're rooting for or whatever, and then use that to be the thing that fuels your opinion. That's all I'm saying. So
I think a lot of them wanted Aiden O'Connell, though, because of being drafted by the Raiders still. That's why the reporters mentioned Aiden O'Connell so much, because we're always rooting for the underdog, even though we knew Minshue was the starter. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry if that affected.
I don't know, but I don't even think he was the underdog. I think it was the incumbent. I think that he had a really good look at the job, and I think that fairly Antonio Pierce gave him every opportunity to earn it. And even still, he kind of hedged and said it was going to be like Gardner's the first quarter of the season. Listen, if Gardner Minshew goes out there and stinks it up and throws 3 picks against the Chargers in week 1, and we lose, and then they never recover from that 2 or 3 games later, guess what? Aiden O'Connell's going to get the job. It's not like this is some slam dunk, you know what I mean? It's his for your team for the year. No, he's got to have success. He's got to demonstrate his value and his ability to lead this football team. I think that he's got the personality to lead them, but now we got to see the play on the field.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more, that scenario in a little bit, about possibly using 2 quarterbacks this season. But I just quickly wanted to end this subject with my final thoughts. I love that AP did pick Gardner Minshew basically within 11 hours, because the reporters were even silenced in that press conference when he made it, because, again, they've been reporting on Aiden O'Connell. And he just quickly shut them up, because you got to give the confidence to your quarterback, as soon as possible. If you knew that was your guy the whole offseason, which they probably did, then you have to make that decision after game 2 and keep your word. But if it was a true competition, like Antonio Pierce said, they should have went to a game 3, in my opinion. But he won the job, and I'm all in on Gardner. As you can see by the jersey behind me. And we don't need to go into this, because this question kind of bleeds into the last one. I didn't really know that it was similar to what we talked about, but we can just quickly say it. Did the Raiders pick the right quarterback? I'll start first. They absolutely did. He got $15 million. He has the videotape, the winning 9 games with the Colts. I believe they picked the right guy, and he has a little bit of an edge to him when he's comfortable. And as the season goes along, hopefully, like I said, with the big plays, the team will be on board. Davante Adams wrote a post the other day saying a picture of him throwing the deep ball to Trey Tucker, and he wrote C. So I believe the Raiders are all in, and now we're going to focus on Minshue Mania and trying to build our chemistry and win some games. They definitely picked the right quarterback, from my opinion. I love Aiden O'Connell. He has a lot of upside. He will be a backup quarterback for many years in this league. He might even be a starter for one team, but they picked the right quarterback.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, to me, it's a slam dunk. I think it's a slam dunk to start there. Is it going to be a slam dunk to finish there? I don't know. That'll be remain to be seen. But I think that with listen, if sometimes they say the quiet part out loud, and when you listen to what Antonio Pierce's criticisms openly were of Aiden O'Connell, it was leadership. He said, I need him. Your quarterback has to be a leader. Listen, and you can lead different ways. You don't have to be a big rah guy. You don't have to be, I don't know, Rich Gannon, red-faced, screaming back and forth with John Gruden on the sidelines, yelling at receivers, or, Marino was like that. You don't have to be you can also be Joe Cool, right? You can also be friggin', Eli Manning. You can be there's a lot of different ways that you can lead, but I think there was something missing from Aiden's role in that. We just didn't see a lot of personality from him. And I'm not using that as a knock necessarily against him, but when you contrast that with with what Gardner Minshew is, doing the whole knick-knack, paddywhack and all that kind of shit before pregame. Like, I mean, it's infectious, man. Like he's a fun guy to hang out and listen to. All you gotta do is listen to one of his interviews. And so he's got that leadership, man. And if anything, this regime led by Antonio Pierce has shown us as Raider fans is that freaking, leadership and the ability to lead a group of men. Like it's unmatched, man. Like it's paramount to this organization right now. And so Gardner gives you that.
Yeah. Didn't mean to change the screen on you while you were giving that amazing information, but this was some funny memes that I saw, right after the preseason game. Aiden O'Connell, because I thought they were 50-50, so I love this meme. Aiden O'Connell versus Gardner Minshew, they're both knocking each other out. They're 50-50. Oh, I just quickly, well, this has nothing to do with it, but they hosted the Jim Otto family lighting the eternal flame on Sunday, and I love it. It was a great moment. They're a beautiful family, but I questioned why didn't they do it in the home opener in week 3 where it might be sold out? Why did they give it a preseason game? Um, your thoughts on that, real quickly, if you have any? I don't know. It kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't love it. And I'm, rarely openly critical about the Raiders and, organizationally. But this is a miss. I brought it up. I'm glad to see they got the 00 on the helmets. So you got 00 on one side and then you got Al on the other. And so that's a nice touch, and that's going to be there all year long. But I've said on this show, and I certainly on Raiders Fan Radio, about how, 00 needs something other than the marker that's there for all the Hall of Fame players, where you see, Fred Biletnikoff and Kenny Stabler and Al Davis, and you see all those, John Madden, and of course, and Jim Otto's 00 is part of that, but just a separate marker for it, because the significance of Jim Otto to the Raiders can never be overstated. Like, he was the first player to really establish what it was to be a Raider on the field. And then, you move into guys like Ben Davidson, who really, push that and drive that home. And then, of course, the next generation, you get into the Jack Tatums of the world, and you got, there are certain players that formed the mentality and the mystique of what it meant to be a Raider on the field. And then the greatness of Jim Otto transcends into off the field. No one was a bigger fan of the Raiders than Jim Otto, and all of that stuff absolutely carried through until the day he passed. And I got to start. I don't think I've told you this, Mikey. One of my co-hosts of Raiders Fan Radio, Michelle, and I were traveling back from Vegas after a game, the last game against the Broncos this last season, and we're walking through the airport, and there at the Raider image is Sally, his lovely wife there, who's in the middle, and Jim Otto is at the Raider image at the freaking airport. And we went in and were able to take a picture with Jim and had a very brief conversation, and talked to the family again, very brief conversation, but had a photo opportunity. And just to that was, and it was just what, a couple of months, 3 months before he passed away. Then the man is still perusing a Raider image store. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I love it. I've seen him in.
Just he could not have personified the Raiders any better, and did it better, arguably, than anybody ever has. So, I don't think that a preseason game is enough, but I'm sure there's more coming. I'm going to trust, because again, this is the thing the Raiders always get right. They always get honoring their past and honoring their legends and honoring their greats. They always get that right. So I'm going to trust that there's something else in the workings for us here as the season goes on.
Oh boy, I truly hope so. Let's just end out this segment where let's look at the competition first. This was the battle in the preseason between Aiden O'Connell, according to the stats for the 2 games. Completion percentage for Aiden O'Connell, 72.5%, 48% from Gardner Minshew, 86 passing yards for Aiden, 106 for Gardner. 1 passing touchdown, 1 turnover for Aiden, no turnovers for Gardner, and that's probably another reason why Gardner won out the job because Aiden has been a little bit prone to turnovers in the red zone, even as of last year, and Gardner is not really a interception machine.
Yeah, I agree, and it's let's see who was that in there. James Harry in the chat says hotter hand, 10-21 against backups. So listen, here's a reason why I think Gardner had the hotter hand, and this is something that I've really leaned into this year, and especially post the Derek Carr era of the Raiders, is that like Mikey just showed up a slide there, and it had stats clearly favoring Aiden O'Connell. There's no disputing that, right? When you look at the completion percentage, other than passing yards per game, but touchdowns are the same. Interceptions go a little bit towards Aiden's way. But the bottom line is that, like, when you look at that completion percentage, like that's a big number. Like 72% versus 48% is a huge number. But here's the thing and this got lost a lot during the Derek Carr wars, okay? And that is context.
The Derek Carr wars. It sounded like Star Wars. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'll give you a crawl and everything, buddy. So it's context. When do you do these? Okay. So when do you throw that interception? When do you complete those passes? When do you score those touchdowns? Those things are huge. And I think that when you look at the potential, and I'm not going to say ability because we haven't seen it yet live in the silver and black, but the potential for Gardner Minshew to put the ball in the end zone, I think is greater at this point than it is Aiden O'Connell. And listen, when you look at that pick six against the Cowboys, those are the kind of things that destroyed Derek Carr's ability to be successful with this football team. I watched Marcus Peters pick him off and grab his junk on the way into the end zone against the Rams in Oakland. The last time I ever sat in the black hole was John Gruden's opening game as a Raider head coach in 2.0 on Monday Night Football. Like that, it sealed the game for the Rams. Like those kinds of, you could throw for 4 touchdowns, but if that one interception you throw is a pick six that cost the game, context is important. And so when you look at the context of those numbers on there, that those things are important. When you look at the 40-yard bombs, the 48-yard bombs to Trey Tucker, and you look at the explosive play capability of Gardner Minshew versus Aiden O'Connell, that's Raider football. And don't argue with me, argue with Al Davis. That man said, we're not looking for first downs, we're looking for touchdowns. He said, you gotta have the vertical game. It's like having the bomb and being willing to use it. That's Al Davis's words. So, and to me, I'm old enough and have turned the calendar enough times, that shit still resonates with me. So if Gardner gives us more of that ability, I mean, Kenny Stabler threw freaking more interceptions than he did touchdowns. And he was the greatest quarterback the Raiders have ever had. Why? Because he wasn't always great, but he was great when he had to be. That's what makes you good. When you have to be great, are you great? Are you going to come up short on a red zone possession in Cincinnati? Right? And I'm not picking on the guy, but listen, you got 4 possessions inside the 10-yard line with a playoff game on the line, and you end up throwing an interception short of the goal line along with a pass out of the end zone, a spike, and then a freaking sideline pass. Like, come on, man. Like that doesn't make you great. What makes you great is the sea of hands, falling down, forcing a ball into the end zone, and giving your guy the ability to make a play. That's Gardner Minshew. That's not Aiden O'Connell.
Murf is getting the rant started. I freaking love it, brother. I love it.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me last week or something why I didn't talk more, and then you guys get enough of me on Friday nights on Raider Football Talk, talking alone to the camera. So you guys get enough of me. This is our opportunity for me to get to know Murf better and his opinions, because he has 3 co-hosts on his show as well, so they all get equal time. So right now, I love it when Murf goes on the rants because he's got some really good knowledge and he knows how to verbalize things that sometimes I am not able to verbalize. So that's one reason why I love the rants. I love the talk from Murf, and I love everything moving forward. Quickly, let's CBS, I love fantasy football. They put out, after he was named the starter. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I was yelling at my dog.
Oh, okay. Bless you. I thought you were sneezing. CBS. I love fantasy football. CBS put out after he became the starter. They put out this 2024 season projections for Gardner Minshew, and then I looked up his stats from all the previous years, and this is just ridiculous. Here's his stats from the previous seasons. And let's quickly go back. Look at that 3,305 yards with Indy in like what, 15 starts? And then when he did start a bunch of games, 2,225 with 16 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns. And then they're predicting he's going to start with the Raiders for 16 games, and they only give him 2,600 yards. And the quarterback, he's going to be ranked 31st in the league of 32 teams, according to CBS Sports and these reporters. What are your thoughts on this? This is effing ridiculous.
Yeah, I think this is a classic example of an anti-Raider bias that happens in a lot of media. Like that's, I mean, yeah, it's stupid when you look at the history, and then, oh yeah, here I got news for you too. You think the Jaguars had weapons like the Raiders have now? Did last year's Colts have weapons like what the Raiders have now? Did they have arguably the best wide receiver in football? Did they have the best tight end prospect that's ever come out of college football? Did they have a secondary guy in Michael Mayer, also at tight end? Did they have an absolute dog in freaking Jacoby Myers? Did they have a speed demon like Trey Tucker that has LASIK surgery and all of a sudden he can catch everything in the world? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's done those types of numbers with way less. So, yeah, man, it's just the typical media. And this is where I'm trying to tell you, Raider Nation, going back to the point I was making earlier. Don't listen to what the media has to say. Their projections are dog shit. They don't mean anything. Use your eyes. Use your own, the history of this league and how it works, and reference back to context between these three teams, between the freaking Jaguars led by Minshew, the Colts led by Minshew, and what potentially could be the Raiders led by Minshew. And what does your critically thought out brain tell you? Well, it's going to be a hell of a lot better than those stats.
Yeah, that photograph just pissed me the heck off. I mean, even if he has a bad year, he's going to be at least ranked in the 20s, like not 31st. He's got a lot of good things going for this team. You're watching Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Please consider hitting that like button and supporting the channel for future and exclusive content. And moving forward.
Can we address a comment in there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it on screen, but I'll do my best.
Nick 209 says, you guys make it sound like Minshew has been in the playoffs. That's my whole point, Nick 209. He's taken teams to the brink of the playoffs that were awful. They're terrible. Like,
he's been in the playoffs. He's been in the playoffs. Wasn't he with the playoffs with Nick Foles or whatever?
I'm with the Eagles. And so, I mean, yes. Yeah. But he's talking about, though, like leading a team, like I'm assuming he's talking about the Jaguars teams and then the Colts team. But look at what those teams did last year. They overachieved, dude. So I'm sorry, Nick 209. You're right. He hasn't been in the playoff as a starting quarterback that's led to him. But, dude, he's freaking like overachieved with the team that he was given. Like, let me ask you this, Nick 209. Would you take last year's Colts or this year's Raiders? What do you want? By skill position, who do you think is better? If you're going to tell me the Colts by skill position are better than the Raiders this year, we disagree in a big ass way. And so if you don't think it's possible for freaking Minshew to take this level of talent to a playoff game, again, we're going to go ahead and disagree. And whatever, you have your own opinion, and just I got one too, and it's like our buttholes, they're different. But like this, the whole idea that Minshew can't lead a team to playoffs, I think is an oversight. This is Nick. Hope he wins 12 games. But I'm being real. Yeah, and I don't. Why not? This is what I always go back to. Why not? Why not us? Until given evidence to think otherwise, why the hell not? Like what? What is it? Like, why? Don't go into this with a defeatist position, Raider Nation. Don't go into it assuming that you're going to suck. Why the hell? Don't watch. I don't. If I think a movie is going to blow, guess what? I don't watch it. I didn't watch The Acolyte because I didn't need to know anything about it. I thought it was going to suck, and it did suck, and they canceled it today. Like, so I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go into watching my Raider football assuming they're going to suck. Otherwise, I'm not going to watch it.
Murph, we're gonna have a Q&A segment where you can go into Nick 209 a little bit deeper in the Q&A segment.
No, it's not yelling at Nick. It's that concept.
I didn't say yelling. I said go at him or with him.
It ain't about him. It's about the idea that there's a lot of people on Twitter and everything else that are like, oh, it's a 6-win team. Shit, Vegas has got us as a 6-win team. That's bullshit. It's darn bullshit. This is not a 6-win football team. And the people that are already getting on Antonio Pierce's ass and all that, I'm not here for it, man. It's so stupid. Like, it's not even week 1 yet. It's not even week 3 of the preseason, and people are already putting freaking negative projections on us.
I'm one of those people that I hate when somebody says, it's just the preseason. That pisses me the heck off. That feels like a losing mentality. When the Raiders lose in the preseason, I keep getting comments. It doesn't matter, Mikey Raider. Yes, it does. Every win matters to me. It matters to the young players. It matters for the Raider legacy. It matters for Antonio Pierce. It matters for everybody. Shut your fucking ass up. Okay, think of. I'm sorry about the rant. But let's get into some. Since we're in a negative point, voice any of your worries for the team, if any. If worries. Let's get out our worries now so we can go to a positive place. Voice any of your worries for the team at coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback, or etc. Whatever you want to talk about.
I mean, yeah, listen, quarterback is yet to be, as much as I just sat here and went on and on. We haven't seen it yet. So until we see it, then it's going to remain to be determined, and that's something to be, I don't want to say concerned about, but it's a question. Okay. The other thing, man, I'm rooting for Ja'Cory Bennett. Like, I'm really rooting for that guy, and I hope that he's going to be able to get it together and be able to play cornerback more with his feet and less with his hands, and doesn't get himself into compromising positions to where he's going to be committing penalties that are going to, deter this team from winning some football games. Our defense is too good not to fall into that. And the idea that the Raiders didn't make a move for Adoree Jackson or Stephon Gilmore or any of the other veteran cornerbacks that are out there. I mean, he's the guy. He's going to be the guy opposite Jack Jones, and Jack Jones is a handful, man. Like, that guy, I know that one in the end zone is probably one that he would want back, but he's an absolute handful over there. So Ja'Cory Bennett is going to get a lot of targets. And so I would just hope that he's as good as I think that he can be, but we will see. We will see.
So that's a worry and a positive at the same time?
Well, you asked me things I was concerned about.
Yeah, worried about. And you said I'm rooting for Ja'Cory Bennett. That sounded like a positive, but it is a worry as well as what you were saying?
Because he's unproven. Again, going back, gotcha. The things that are because I don't worry about anything, but the things that are concerning or question marks to me, that's one of them, because it's not proven. Like Davante Adams is proven. We know what we're going to get with him. I think that we've seen enough from Zamir White to know what he's going to be. We know Colton Miller and Trayvon Merrick and Marcus. Like those things aren't question marks. Jack Jones is not a question mark. What are the question marks, right? Are going to be quarterback, cornerback, and here, I'll give you one more. I'll give you a bonus one. How great can Brock Bowers be? We know he's going to be good. We know that he's likely going to be great, but how great? This is literally the best tight end prospect that's ever entered the National Football League. Like, he's not even a tight end. He's an offensive weapon. The guy, we've already seen him at fullback. We didn't even see him in the last game, but we've seen him at fullback. We've seen him in the slot. We've seen him in conventional tight end. We see what he like. So that question, that's a positive question, because we know.
Yeah. You took the optimistic view. So I'm technically asking for your worries now, and then I was going to ask for your positives after. But because we're trying to end everything with a positive. But thank you for doing that. But you don't have any other worries to speak of at the moment, and then I'll give you mine.
Tyree Wilson. I think Tyree Wilson is, when you're blending in with second and third stringers and you're a 7th overall pick, I think that that's concerning. I think that that's definitely concerning. And I think that it's going to be important for that young man to really step up. And listen, if being a run defender is going to be his thing or whatever, and you're not going to be a super highlight reel when it comes to rushing the quarterback, then fine. But you've got to stand out with the ones and not just kind of blend in with the 2s and 3s.
Yeah, I had a question a little bit later, so we don't need to do it anymore. But I had a question called, "Where's Tyree Wilson?" I'm a little bit concerned about that. Exactly. Yeah. In his second year, coming off an injury, he's even played at the defensive tackle position in the first 2 preseason games, and I haven't heard a reporter or a newscaster mention his name. I haven't heard anything in training camp of good projection. So I am very, very concerned about Tyree Wilson. Now, if I could just on top of that, I have concerns for Antonio Pierce as a coach, as a lot of people do, but I love what he's bringing to the team. But a little bit of the game management, thank goodness it happened in the preseason. I still have some concerns with that because even Dan Campbell, a veteran of 3 years, kind of screwed around with some game management, trying to build the team swag with the Detroit Lions. And they went for it on 4th down in the playoffs instead of kicking field goals when they had the lead to lead them to the Super Bowl. He went for it like on 3 or 4 occasions when they could have at least gotten, 6 or 9 points. And it was kind of game management situations, and it cost the Lions possibly a Super Bowl run. And he's a player's coach, and Antonio Pierce has been showing issues last season a little bit, but at least it's been in the preseason. So I have that worry, that something might happen moving forward, but I can't live life that way. I just got to rock with AP and hope for the best. Offensive coordinator, I have a ton of worries there because the situation that I was mentioning, and I should have mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell in the competition. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a camp competition of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who worked with Luke Getsy. And they're still going into week 3 of the preseason until they name their starter. That's why I thought that maybe the Raiders should have went till week 3, because the Steelers are at least going into week 3 with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. But Justin Fields worked with Luke Getsy, and Luke Getsy has a run-oriented team and a 12-personnel team. And with certain players that we're going to talk about in a bit, I don't know if we have a killer instinct offense. Because in the preseason, and thank goodness it's preseason, but I don't want to put those excuses. It's only the preseason. They didn't let Bradley Carter throw the ball when all we needed was a first down to win the game versus the Vikings. And Luke Getsy went run.
Carter Bradley.
Carter Bradley or Bradley Carter. Yeah, you're right.
No, Carter Bradley.
I just worry that Luke Getsy doesn't have the killer instinct because he never had it with the Bears. He was always playing, in close games or keeping it close. And that's how we're going to have to play this year. But there's certain moments where you need that killer instinct, like a Dan Campbell, where you go for it on 4th, or you go for a big play on 3rd down, and you just keep scoring and driving down the field. And I don't know if Luke Getsy has it. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one to bring up. I mean, that's clearly a question, So I mean, we'll see. We'll certainly find out. I mean, there was a lot of liabilities in that Bears offense last year that had nothing to do with Luke Getsy, and so we'll certainly see how this thing ends up, Mikey. But again, I'm gonna trust in his connections that he has with Davante Adams. And here's again, I go back to the idea that I'm going to trust what the Raiders are telling me, not what some reporter or what Camaro Guy 69 on Twitter is trying to tell me. If Davante Adams says that Luke Getsy is a good defensive coordinator and they have a good relationship and he trusts him, well, then I'm going to trust him. And if Antonio Pierce trusts him, then I'm going to trust him. You know what I'm saying? Like the analysis by fans and the general opinion of the public and even against supporters, like it doesn't resonate with me at all. I listen to the guys that are actually involved in this. And again, I'm going to trust Davante Adams way more than I'm going to trust some chucklehead on Twitter.
Yeah, we were just talking about worries. I'm going to trust everybody till I can't. But I was just giving you my concerns and my worries.
No, it's fair to bring up. No, I'm not. That's not a shot at you. I'm just saying that, like, and it is a question and it is a concern. But so then because it is a concern, well, then who are we going to listen to as far as a reason to maybe trust it and expect a level of success? Well, Davante Adams. Okay. Well, then then I'm going to go with that. But you're right. We don't know.
And I'm also worried that the defense has been overhyped this offseason by the reporters and everybody. I know we looked as good and we finished as the last 6 or 8 games as basically a top 10, if not better defense. But I hate the overhypedness. Sometimes people can't live up to that standard if they hear it all off season. And I'm just a little concerned about that. But I know it'll fix itself by the year's end. But I'm still concerned about players, living in their own ego, getting overhyped and stuff like that. That just scares the crap out of me.
I think the good news there is that the overhype, and because I agree with you, but it's not coming from media. It's not coming from other teams. It's not coming from the Raiders. It's coming from fans.
The media. I watch a lot, and they're like, "Oh, the Raiders are going to have a stout defense this year." They're calling it a paper defense, but they're going to have a stout defense. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, they say they're going to have a good defense, but they said that we're going to be a 6-win football team. So
yeah, that is. You know what? Wow, you're exactly right.
Yeah. So if the defense is that great, if we're that's like, oh my gosh, the Raiders are gonna have the number 1 defense in the NFL. Well, number 1 defenses in the NFL don't win 6 games. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's they're backhanded compliments at best.
Yeah. But then they think about they're gonna have a good defense. They're gonna be in games, but then they got a quarterback like Gardner. They got a new coach like AP who's gonna make mistakes, and I don't expect them to win. All right, this is a sensitive subject, maybe for you, Murf. So let's try not to get mad at each other. But I asked.
This might be a good time for me to go pee.
Do you need to go?
I can pee, but I'm 51 years old, Mikey. I can pee just about any time.
Go get it done. Go get it done.
Okay.
Go get it done. I'll entertain the crowd. So, Raider Nation, first off, you are watching Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Murf, our co-host, is going to the bathroom because we are older people and we do have bowel movements and we need to do other things at certain times. So, no worries. But I want to thank everybody that's online. I'm sorry if I haven't put all your comments on screen. But again, super chats will get priority because I am trying to, somehow make some money through YouTube. Super chats get priority. We will hopefully have a Q&A section where you can ask me or Murph anything for our opinions coming up in a couple of minutes. But stick around, guys, and you're going to get some more good topics. We're about to talk about Davante Adams and the possibility of him becoming a problem. So if you don't want to tune into this and you don't like that type of talk, because I am trying to have an optimistic show, then, come back in about 15 minutes. But that being said, Mikey Raider's going to rant about some Davante Adams stuff that I see, and it possibly is becoming a problem. Also, every Friday night, please tune into Raider Football Talk Live with me, Mikey Raider, talking about our Raiders, alone to a camera in my studio apartment, trying to have a good time. Please subscribe to this channel. Consider becoming a member if you enjoy the content, and hopefully in the future me and Murph will do more of these, and I'm pretty sure we will, so you look forward to that. All right, the man, the myth, the legend is back. Did you clean your bowels?
Well, I didn't clean the bowels, but I took my bladder down to 0.
Oh, bladder, that's right, bladder. All right, Murph. So I asked you a couple of weeks ago when we did the training camp special about the news reports. Would Davante be traded? You guys can watch the former show about that and get our reactions. But I don't know how up to date you are on some of the stuff that Davante has been doing on the sidelines, possibly against Antonio Pierce, and a little bit of the turmoil in the will he play in the preseason? Will he not? I don't know how up to date you are, but if you need a refresher, just let me know. So I asked the question: is Davante Adams a locker problem? Will he be a locker problem or a positive this year from your perspective? I know it sounds like a stupid question because Davante Adams is the man, the myth, the legend, the amazing dude, the amazing teammate, but there has been some instances, if you know what's been going on, that are a little bit weird, and it leads to a direction that I wanted to talk about. So I hope you understand the question.
Well, I understand the question. I don't agree with it even being posed as a question. Davante Adams on his social media puts a picture of him and Antonio Pierce together with the only caption is a goat. Like, I mean, if you guys don't think that Davante Adams was a huge voice, then not only the selection of the quarterback, but the election of Antonio Pierce, then I mean, you're just flat mistaken. Like he's being trusted. I think he was a voice in Luke Getsy getting the job. Like when you look at the two leaders of this football team on the field and off from a player's position, it is Max Crosby and Davante Adams. And this offseason, we saw and heard more from Davante Adams since he's been a Raider than we ever have. When you listen to the podcast he did with Shannon Sharp, when you listen to the podcast Max Crosby, when you look at all the different appearances that Davante Adams has done and made this year, he has given you a window into his brain, into what his thoughts are when it comes to the Raiders. So again, I don't listen to what the media has to say. I don't listen to what Twitter has to say. I listen to what Davante has to say. And those things are very positive when it comes to his outlook and when it comes to the Raiders. And so if that's what he's exuding outwardly, well, then in the locker room, it's a positive because that's what he's going to lead with internally as well. So again, man, I don't, and I'm not bashing you, Mikey, for asking the question. I just don't think that it's a question that really, frankly, makes much sense to me because it's a slam dunk yes as a positive. Like that guy will never be a negative. You know what I mean? It might have been a negative for Josh McDaniels, but so was every other player's position when it came to Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels is a fat-eared asshole. You know what I'm saying? So like, so this, when it comes to Antonio Pierce and the current onset of the Raiders, like, nah, it's nothing but positive.
Are you up to date on the preseason, whether he was going to play or not, how he went above Antonio Pierce?
He didn't go above Antonio Pierce. Listen, he's got the same position that every other freaking.
You don't think he went above Antonio? No. I truly did. I did.
No, it's bullshit. It does. It's not. It's listen to have the assumption that these guys aren't talking to each other. That Mark Davis and Davante Adams and Antonio Pierce and Luke Getsy and everybody else involved with any of these situations. Do you have the assumption that like the guys aren't talking? That's high school shit. That ain't fucking. Of
course they're talking, but still, the situation at hand, from my perspective, Murph, and I'm not yelling at you. I know you disagree, but from my perspective, the situation at hand was Davante did not play in the first preseason game. Then Antonio Pierce said before that first preseason game, if you're healthy, you're going to play. And all the starters, for the most part, played that were healthy in the first week. Then the reporters asked Davante, are you going to play this week? And then he said, if I'm choosing, I would prefer not to play. I have never played in the preseason since 2017. Then 2 days later, they asked Antonio Pierce, did you hear what Davante said? And is he going to play? Then Antonio said, if you're healthy, you're going to play. And he said it with passion as trying to control the team. I don't care. Max Crosby is a leader. He played. Davante is healthy. He did not want to play. He is going above the team and against Antonio Pierce, trying to build the team as a leadership role. And then Antonio Pierce had to say it, if you're healthy, you're going to play. Then all of a sudden, the next day, after Antonio Pierce saw his press conference, all of a sudden he tweaked a muscle and he did not play in the second preseason game. And Antonio Pierce had to answer after the game. They're like, why didn't Davante play? Oh, apparently on Thursday or Friday, he tweaked a muscle or something like that. So that goes against the wishes of if you're healthy, you're going to play. So maybe Davante made an excuse to get his way. Maybe he went above Antonio Pierce, who's trying to lead the team. And I don't understand that. That seems ridiculous to me. Yes, they're all good. Yes, they're friends. He's still the GOAT. But Antonio Pierce is trying to make this team his. And then, and in my opinion, Davante Adams at certain points is being the diva, taking charge of the team, having too much input, where it's technically going above Antonio and kind of, in some sorts, being bigger than the Shield with all his comments. That's just my opinion. And if he doesn't get the ball this season, if anything goes badly, he was talking up Aiden O'Connell the entire offseason. Went on the Max Crosby podcast.
Oh, he was talking up Gardner Minshew too.
Correct, but
if I hear that opinion one more time, my head's going to explode. People act like freaking Davante is out there championing for Aiden O'Connell. No, he was championing for both guys. Gosh, dang it.
No, but he posted after Gardner became the starter, he posted a post telling the world, you see, meaning he championed for Gardner in his mind more, and he's saying, you see what Gardner can do as opposed to Aiden O'Connell. So that meant previously he was talking up Aiden O'Connell, but he always wanted Gardner Minshew. That feels a little fake in my book when he made that post, when he wrote C, meaning he's the quarterback.
Mikey, you're killing me.
I just gave you the clues. I just gave you what I see. That's all I can do.
Listen, dude, he's encouraging both guys. They're both
I
Raiders.
know that, but again.
So then the conversation then stops. If you know it, then why is it a debate? Like he's behind both guys, and he's going to find a unique connection with one of them. And I would argue and submit to you, based on some of the based on some of the points that he's made about Gardner, that's where his preference lied. Like, that's it. The end. It's not these. Listen, and I know you are a conspiracy guy and you love your conspiracies and all that. I'm not going to shit on that because that's your thing and you love it. And I'm glad you love it. But this whole idea, we take these little tidbits of information and we blow them into these giant freaking stories that never turn out. They never come out to be that. Like, this whole idea, like, it's like when freaking Megatron was coming to practices and I had Twitter telling me that Megatron was going to make a comeback and sign with the Raiders. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's bullshit.
I would have loved that.
But it's bullshit. It was never going to happen. And so there's these that's the thing about these conspiracy theories. You take a nugget of information, you blow it up into a big story, and then none of it ever happens. Like,
what's the theory? But you're saying I'm giving you a theory. What's the theory? I'm not giving you a theory. I'm giving you my thoughts on the stuff he's done.
All along, like that he was selling that it was Aiden O'Connell, but then
Murf, I'm gonna explain it. Hopefully, I'm gonna explain it in a different way where hopefully you see what I'm thinking about.
You know what? Let's shout out Pirate 1975. Davante Adams just wants to win. Thank you. That's it. That's it. It's that simple. He just wants to win. And what
I think he wants to make more. I think he wants to make more money. His guaranteed contract has been paid off this year, and he now has a beautiful baby boy. And his mind is a little bit out the door, and he wants to get another guaranteed contract with another team because he doesn't have true 100% faith anymore in Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew or the Raiders because we are possibly in another year or two of not winning. So if he can add to his income, I believe he's going to do that for his beautiful family. That's just my opinion. Now, quickly, let me just mention that you're calling it a theory. Murph, if I went on a podcast talking about other podcasters like you, or let's just throw out Wi-Fi Willie, and I go, oh, what do you think about Wi-Fi Willie? Oh, I love. Please hear it from my perspective. Have a little bit of grace for me, please. Thank you. If I say, I'm asked about Wi-Fi as a podcaster, I go, I love him. I'm rooting for him. You know, I'm really rooting for the guy, And then they said, what about Murf? Like Murf, either Murf or Wi-Fi Willie's going to be the starting podcaster. Oh, I love Murf. Murf has the legacy. Murf is there, but I'm rooting for both of them. Then Murf gets announced as the starting podcaster. Then I immediately go on social media and I post a picture, and then I go, you see, everybody, it was Murf all along in my mind. But publicly, I'm going to praise everybody. It seems a little fake. That's just my opinion. It's my thoughts. I'm worried, Davante, if we're not winning, going over AP's head, which I thought he did, and kind of ruined AP trying to gain control of the team. I feel like Davante has one foot out the door, and I hope he doesn't become a bigger headache in my eyes. Not yours, but mine. And that's what I'm worried about.
32.
But that being said, I hope he scores his 100th touchdown in week 1. He needs 4 or 5 touchdowns for 100, and I hope he scores it in week 1. Why are you acting childish, like running away from the camera when I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative?
32-year-old guys do not want to play in the preseason, Mikey. It's not a conspiracy. It's the truth.
It ain't about the preseason. It's about everything else. Branding, making more money. He has a family. He doesn't want to get injured by hospital balls by Aiden O'Connell. He doesn't want. Did you watch the show Receiver? He was like hamming it up for the cameras everywhere.
You're right. It's 100% a conspiracy theory. He's going to leverage his way out of there. I'm sure he's probably going to try to get a piece of the Raiders and then sue Mark Davis on the weekend. That makes perfect sense.
All right. I didn't say any of that. I just said he, in my opinion, he has one foot out the door. That's all I said. Whether you believe, some people think it's faith family football. I think it might be 4th or 5th on his list nowadays. That's all I'm going to say about that.
You're right, SoCal.
All right, you're watching Raider football. I'm sorry, you're watching Raider football. You're watching Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Sorry, guys, my blood pressure boiled a little bit. I don't like seeing Murf get mad at me for whatever reason. We're just talking different opinions in football, man. Please, love me after. Love me after.
Always do.
I know, I appreciate it. But I'm not good with, like, this type of stuff. I'm not used to it.
Well, you've set it up. You even said we're not going to agree about this. So don't be surprised when we don't agree.
No, I know. But I'm still not used to it. You get it, the feelings after. I can't explain it. It's all good.
It's just football, man. It's just football. And none of this shit matters.
I know.
Okay.
Whatever. It's all good. We just have varying different opinions, but we can love each other at the end.
Absolutely. I'm not mad at you. I just don't think I just don't agree with you. That's all. Doesn't mean I don't love you.
I just hate that anytime a fan agrees with you, you're shouting it out, trying to publicly show that other people don't agree with me. And I didn't do that with people that agree with me. I didn't say, Murf, look at, Nick 209 agreed with me. It just felt a little combative, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's move on to a subject. I haven't went over the rosters. Forgive me, I've been a little bit busy. But we got cuts coming up. And like you said, I think this is the first year where they're cutting a ton of players, like all at the same time. And Murf, you have a little bit better knowledge of the roster and the construction at the moment than I do. So do you foresee any big names being cut? And then like any like sleeper players that makes the teams, like of your favorites?
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to see any big names get cut. I don't think that's much of a possibility. But I love what Antonio Pierce has had to say. And again, go back to what do you see on the field and what do you hear from the coaches? DJ Turner is going to make this football team and going to make a hell of an impact. I think not only in the passing game, but in the return game as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what that young man's going to do, man. I think that he's an exciting player. But like in terms of like a big name, like we're going to see like a Divine Diablo or like somebody like that get cut. I don't believe so. I don't think there's a name other than, I mean, and it won't happen. He won't get cut. But I think that somebody that could potentially be on the roster bubble is Tyree Wilson. I mean, I'm not going to cut him because he was a first round pick and they've got too much invested in him. So they'll bury him in the depth chart, for another year or two before they would cut him. But I'd say that he's probably the most high profile name that would be a potential roster, bubble. But outside of that, man, no, I don't think there's any big cuts to be had. I think anybody that was going to be a big cut was just not brought back. Like you look at Amik Robertson and Josh Jacobs and those guys, like those were effectively your cuts going into the season.
Yeah. One of the big cuts that could have happened is if Michael Gallup didn't retire. He might have been a big cut. You never know, depending on his injury. But again, I don't know many of the names, and please forgive me, Raider Nation. I just haven't really studied it for a good while. But who makes the team like a favorite player of mine? I've been rooting for, I don't know if he was undrafted or not, but Tommy Eichenberg. I think he was drafted, though.
Drafted, yeah, out of Ohio State.
Do you remember what round for our team?
4, I want to say. And he's listed on the latest depth chart just came out today. And I believe he is listed. So Masterson is the backup to Diablo. To Diablo. And then Eichenberg is listed as the second backup on the other side.
Hey, Murf, I'm not trying to get you started, but per the Davante Adams stuff, guess who agreed with me?
Of course he did.
I'm sorry, I had to do that because it was the running thing throughout the show.
Hey, man, this is your show, dude. You got your audience.
No, it's okay, man. I just have issues with my blood pressure, and whenever things get a little spicy, I don't know how to deal with it.
Radio is no fun when everyone sits around and agrees with each other. If you and I were just sitting here washing each other's balls, it wouldn't be a very fun conversation. So there's nothing wrong with having a spirited conversation, man. One side or the other. That's what's all good, man. Like you said, like we can have a spirited conversation, and it's literally about the Raiders, and it's literally meaningless. It doesn't affect our friendship and how we feel about each other. And so I just hope that people that are watching this and listening to it are enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I'm just not used to it. I don't have a lot of or a lot of debates with a lot of people. You get it? Like maybe it's you once every 2 or 3 months, and then like
you're safe. You're safe with me, man. We can have a debate about anything.
I know, but it's funny how I create the hot topics, and I know it's going to get people livid. But then when it actually happens, I'm like, oh shit, why did I do that?
Yeah, well, there you go.
I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out a little bit. You're mad at me. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not mad at you. But
that's all good, brother.
That Nick 209, he's on my short list. It was a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke. All right. Since this is my screen keeps doing something. Forgive me. Since this is the Mondays with Mikey and Murf season start special, let's talk about the season outlook for the team and give some predictions, maybe MVP, Rookie of the Year. Let's give a positive outlook and let's figure it out.
All right. Are you going first or am I going?
Go for it, Murph. You got some good takes. I'll end it with a conspiracy. I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to do a positive outlook. Trust me, I'm really good here.
I think we have a lot to look forward to this year. And I say that based on the evidence that's been presented to us. We saw Gardner Minshew lead his team nearly to a playoff appearance last year, and this Raider team is way more talented than that Indianapolis team. And that Indianapolis team is one that beat us, by the way. That just happened like 8 months ago. Y'all remember that? That sucked. So I think the potential is there for the Raiders. I think the potential there for, I say this all the time, man, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And the culture that Antonio Pierce has created within the Raiders organization, that throwback, the Raider way, everything from the font they're using when you see social media posts to the freaking,
What do you think of the new logo? I'm sorry. What do you think of the new logo? The L, the X, and the V.
I love it. Like that, I think it's a great logo. It's very Raidery, and yeah, it absolutely embodies the spirit of the organization. And when you look at that, or like little videos they've made, and they've included the fans in it because it's all about Raider Nation. Like I just love the culture that's been built by the Raiders, and to think that isn't going to lead to success, I think is an oversight. I think it's going to lead to success. Now, what level? I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I'm just like any of us, man. I'm out here guessing and hoping for as much as possible. But I do know that this team ended. It started on a high note when Antonio Pierce took over, and we beat the shit out of the Giants, and it ended on a high note when we beat the Broncos. And in between there, we swaggered boisterously in Kansas City, and we pillaged just for fun against the Chargers. So if that spirit can keep up and carry into 2024, I don't see how this team can't compete for a playoff spot. I don't think we're good enough to compete for the division yet, but I think the playoffs are definitely in our sight. I've joked and we've done our schedule prediction. Some of us have like the Raiders like 13 games or whatever. I don't think
is that Michelle. Michelle has like 14-2 or something.
Yeah, I mean, and is that realistic? I don't know, but are they good enough to win 11, maybe 12? Look at the way the schedule is going to stack up. I think there's absolutely a possibility there for the Raiders to be that good, and I hope they're going to achieve that. And so that's my predictions in terms of like the season MVP. I mean, if the quarterback is playing well enough to get us into that type of a record, well, then quarterback is going to be your MVP. So I'm going to say that it'll be Minshue. Or maybe O'Connell. I don't know, but it's going to be a quarterback. And then our rookie of the year. I mean, if anybody answers anything other than Browers, then I'd be really curious to hear why.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about that because I wanted to bring it up earlier in the show, but I forgot. Do you think we're going to have a year where, because Antonio Pierce, in my opinion, doesn't have a track record of pulling quarterbacks and have a two quarterback team where if one quarterback's playing bad, he brings in the other, or he bows to the crowd or if the fans are getting mad because we're losing or winning with Gardner. I think with Antonio Pierce, he seems like I'm going to pick a quarterback and that's going to be our quarterback forever. And do you see a version this year where the crowd gets mad at Gardner and he will play two quarterbacks this season?
I don't think that it would be a strategic move. The idea of starting a guy based on who your opponent is and the matchup potentials, I don't see that world because it doesn't really work in the modern day NFL. This isn't Kenny Stabler and Daryl LaMonica. You know what I mean? Like those ideas don't work anymore. But is there a world where, listen, if Gardner goes out and stinks it up the first 4 games, would Antonio Pierce put in Aiden O'Connell? Absolutely. Absolutely. And then if Aiden O'Connell stinks those 4 games, would Gardner get another shot? Absolutely. So, I mean, he's only committed to really the first quarter of the year in terms of Gardner. And I like that. I like that because that keeps Guard Dog on his toes. Yeah. Like, don't have that kind of security. Like, oh, this is listen. And I'm not trying to restart the car wars here, but I think that worked against Derek. And his success with the Raiders is that he was the guy. It didn't matter what the season was like, what the outcome was, what the win-loss record was. He was going to be the guy no matter what. And so having that person lingering behind you, looking over your shoulder, that it was – you think about, was Connor Cook going to threaten freaking Derek Carr to take the job? Hell no. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like that whole idea of like having somebody there that's in the wings, that's like, look, bro, if you don't get it done, we're going to put that guy in. I think that's a motivator, and I don't think it's a negative motivator. I think it's a positive one.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you though, I think you could look at that if he does switch quarterbacks. That might mess with the confidence for players, back and forth. And I kind of don't want a season like that, even though I understand the philosophy that you just mentioned, because it's all about the just wins. And, it is a Band-Aid year, but he did publicly state, I don't want to just have a Band-Aid at quarterback.
Yeah,
And then
sure did.
it, there's a lot of little like things that he has said that would say he wouldn't switch quarterbacks, but he said, I'm going to put in Gardner Minshew at least for the first quarter or something like that in the press conference. I don't want a world where they do that. I really don't.
No, I don't either. I mean, nobody does. You wanted the old saying goes, if you don't have a definitive starting quarterback, then you don't have a quarterback. Like, and there's a lot of people out there that have the opinion that like, oh, we have two backups, and like, listen, you're right, and that's
Yeah, we do have two backups. Yeah,
what I always say about critics, man. You're right until proven otherwise. And that's the thing. That's why it's so easy to be a hater, because when you look at only one team wins the Super Bowl every year, so 32 critics' opinions are proven correct. You know what I mean? Or of the 31 teams, critics are proven correct because they don't win the Super Bowl every year. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you say, well, yeah, we have two backups, well, you're right until proven otherwise. So I'm hoping and trusting that Minshew proves otherwise. And if he doesn't prove otherwise, I'm hoping and trusting that Aiden O'Connell can prove otherwise. But until proven, wrong, all those critics are correct. We got two backups.
yep, definitely. I love this comment from Pig76. He said O'Connell has no problem being a backup. He thrived at that position through college. And I agree. Aiden O'Connell is one of those guys that he's not going to cause a controversy, or he's just going to do his job. And that's what I really respect about that, truly. I really do. I think he's going to be a great backup for many teams in the future. But I just, Gardner Minshew to come out and go back in, I think he's a player that deals with confidence, and he needs confidence. He needs that Minshew Mania. And then I did the Ray DeVito thing, or the Tony DeVito thing. But I think he needs that confidence um, to play better. And again, if there's a scenario where he's pulled out and put back in, I don't know if Gardner can handle it all season, or he'll have any resemblance of Minshew Mania.
Neither one of those guys are going to do well with that. Nobody in the NFL would do well with that anymore. It's an antiquated thing to do.
Yeah. Interesting situation, that quarterback position that we got going on. So my season outlook, I think we're going to have a great season. No matter what happens, I am in love with Antonio Pierce. That's why I kind of got his back when I felt like controversy was happening, with some other players. But I love him. I love the swag he brought. And I really like that he is the underdog coach. And he has a lot of pressure on him though this year. For other players to come, for other people to be head coaches in the league. Not only is he black, he's a former player. He's taking on a team that was losing. He's got a ton of pressure. So I am rooting for him. But I love his swag, and I love how he's trying to change the culture. And I think he will do that within his 2-year contract. And I know no matter what happens, win or loss, he's going to leave the Raiders in a better direction than they were with even some of these big name head coaches. So we got a Raider as a coach. Win, lose, or tie, he's a Raider for life. And I love his swag, and he's buying in. He's driving the Impala. The players, when we win a few games, hopefully early on in the season, it's all going to get started. It's all going to get started, and hopefully that'll lead us to the playoffs. But I honestly don't care if we make the playoffs. But of course, I want to. I hope we get that lottery ticket to the playoffs. But I just want a season of love, and I want a season of people just loving the Shield, loving the nation as a family. No more divide between coaches and players. And I'm hoping for the best. And I honestly think it will be the best. And I love Davante. I want him to really end out the last 2 or 3 years with the Raiders and go into the Hall of Fame as a Raider. That's my dream. I'm not going to bring up any of my concerns. I think the season is going to be a fun season. And whether we win or lose, Raider Nation is a little too critical at times, overreacting, just like I am. And let's try to get rid of some of that. because we're not going to build a winning culture from the sidelines by being negative every game, every opportunity. We're not going to build a winning culture. My prediction is the Raiders win at least more than 7 games, as they predicted, and I believe we're going to go 10-6 or 10-7, whatever the records are, and hopefully we make the playoffs. My MVP for the season will be. I'm not going to mention the quarterbacks. I'm going to hope it's Davante Adams, but I really could see a scenario where Trey Tucker and maybe Zeus White, in terms of fantasy football, is the MVP, and I'm really looking forward to them. And I believe Jack Jones will be the defensive MVP because he's bringing that Raider swag all year. He's going to make mistakes, but he's going to have a lot of good plays, and he's going to talk a lot of shit, smoke a lot of shit. And God damn it, it's the new Raider way. Rookie of the year, Brock Bowers, no doubt in my mind. And anything else to add, Murph?
Who would, so clearly everybody's choice for rookie of the year is going to be Brock Bowers. If you couldn't pick Brock, who's the next one? Who's the next rookie that's going to make the biggest impact? I know mine, but I want to know yours.
Again, I don't remember all the rookies, but we got a lot of defensive rookies more than offense. So I don't really remember all the players, but I'm going to go with Dylan Lobb. I want him to somehow figure it out and be that third down back that catches the ball out of the backfield like Christian McCaffrey, like a baby Christian McCaffrey. I want him to figure that out. And then I also hope it's Jackson Powers Johnson. I like his tenacity.
That's my guy right there. Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to have some dominance on the frickin' in the interior of the line, and he's not listed as a starter based on the latest chart, but I think that he's quickly going to frickin' end up in that spot for sure.
I hope so. Yeah, we got to get him on the field. I think he's on the field now working, but hopefully he's available for week 1.
I like DJ Glaze. That's a great call, man. What a good kid he is. It's been great it's so funny with the draft. Like, I'm not a big draft junkie, but like once the draft is done, I like to dig in and like learn about the players that we have and, kind of figure out who they are and what their abilities are and all that. DJ Glaze is a cool kid, man. And I can say kid because I'm old enough, man. That's a good dude. I'm rooting for him big time.
Yeah. We'll talk about this comment, me and you, Murph, after the show, but there is a situation going on with your microphone, and we'll deal with it after the show. But it's okay. It's just got some issues. It's making little noises. But
yeah, no, it's been doing that of the whole show. I think it's an internet thing.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, man,
I have the same setup I always have. Yeah.
Trust me, I've been having issues all day. Don't even worry about it. Pirate 1975, with a bit of luck, let's shoot for 10 wins. Reality is screaming at me, but I'm praying for 10. So am I. All right, let's move on. We don't have to talk about this question, but I just thought it was kind of hot topic-y, and I maybe wanted to post a clip. But are you missing Derek Carr, and do you wish he was our quarterback under this new regime and swag?
No.
I actually do. I am still a fan of Derek Carr. I'm rooting for the guy, and I wish that he technically would have went into a season with a top 10 defense. And I would have liked to see him work with Antonio Pierce, to be because I believe he is a Raider for life, and I wish he would have worked with Antonio. I just wanted to see what happened. So I'm missing it. Hey, Murph, are you playing fantasy football this year at all?
No. I don't have time, man. I'm the worst. First, I'm the worst fantasy football player ever because all I ever do is pick Raiders, and I just don't have time with the show and everything else. I just don't have time to play.
All right, for anybody that's watching, and thanks to Murph's appearance, we've had the biggest numbers we've had all season. We hit about 70 or 80 viewers at the moment. So if you guys want to play in my fantasy football league, there is a video on this channel where you can watch it, and it tells you how to become a member of my fantasy football team. It's about $25 for a value of $250 in Raider swag and prizes and jerseys and autographs from my channel. It helps support me. We have 2 spots available. So go out and find that video or hit me up on the email, social media down below if you would like to join my fantasy football league because I freaking love it and it's one of the best things in my life. I love fantasy football.
Well, and thank you to all those
all right.
that are in there, by the way. I just wanted to say thank you to all those people that are in there. Appreciate all those.
Murf. Dude, people follow you, Murf, man. They I've been struggling getting viewers again, for whatever reason, and people love you, Murf. And so every time you're on the show, you're helping bring some. Hey, after our last show, subscribers found me again through you because I think I'm deplatformed on YouTube or I'm shadow banned or something with the name Raider Central or Mikey Raider. I think I'm shadow banned because people were like, "Oh my God, you're still making videos? I found you from Murf again." So thank you, Murf. You're bringing people back to me.
Glad to, man. Love this show.
No, I appreciate it, man. And you're doing great. Everybody check out their show. Oh, let me put that back on screen so you guys can get all the information for his show. Now we're going to get into some fun topics. Okay, let me get the banner thing here. Where is it? Sorry, guys. There we go. All right, I changed it. On the bottom of the screen is all the information to get a hold of Murf and watch his show and his content coming up. He's doing some great things.
Come see us in Vegas on Friday. We'll be at the Raider Dad tailgate where we're going to donate $3,000 to Raider Dad based on your generosity, Raider Nation. We can't thank you and love you guys enough for your support of Raiders Fan Radio and the One Nation Foundation. Come check us out. We'll be out there in Lot H.
Lot H this Sunday or Saturday. Is the game on Saturday?
Friday.
Oh, it's on Friday. Ooh, wow, that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so again, we're going to do a worst and then a positive after. But what's your worst former Raider player moment? I'll start so you'll understand the concept. But my worst former Raider player moment was when Tim Brown played for John Gruden on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then scored his 100th touchdown, and it wasn't as a Raider because he was my favorite player. Murf went off screen. I'm sure he'll be back, everybody. But that was my worst former Raider player moment was when Tim Brown. All right, we'll get him back on screen. Okay, you're back. But so my worst Raider player moment was when Tim Brown became a Buccaneer and scored his 100th touchdown against. I think it was against the Raiders, but as a Buccaneer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my worst. Do you have your worst former Raider player moment?
Yeah, I think just seeing Marcus Allen in a Chiefs uniform for the first time. That just it just never felt right. And it was gross. I mean, Marcus Allen was one of the most dynamic, explosive players to ever suit up in the silver and black. And to see him wear those colors, man, that was rough.
Yeah. There's been a few former Raider player moments that have really burned my britches, but Tim Brown was my favorite player. So yeah, that just really stuck with me.
But I mean, really, and if I really want to go back, seeing Kenny Stabler and Oilers freaking baby blue, man, that shit hurt feelings when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh. I could also say Derek Carr being released, because I was a fan of Derek Carr. You get it. Now, what's your best Raider player interaction? Meaning you've met them in real life or you've interacted with them on social media. Like, what was your best Raider player moment? Whether they're a former Raider or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Man, we've had some really well. Can I give you two?
Yeah, you can give me as many as you want.
So this last year, when we were at the Blitnikoff Foundation dinner, we had the good fortune. Of course, we interviewed Freddie. We interviewed Jim Plunkett and Phil Villapiano, and so we've had like great Raider greats on during those interviews sessions. And one player I did not expect to see that came walking in was Mike Haynes, and the great Mike Haynes, Hall of Famer, number 22, part of the greatest, cornerback duo that the Raiders have ever had. He came walking in, and I lost my shit I'm a 51-year-old man, and I was like, Mike Haynes, and like stood up, and everybody turned, like all the Raiderettes and everybody turned around and looked at me. They're like, who was that guy? Like, what? And he came over and sat down with us and had a really nice conversation with the legendary Mike Haynes. So that just happened like not even a year ago, and so that was pretty special. But I think that overall, I got to shout out the boy Will Compton. Will Compton became a buddy of ours when he was playing with the Raiders back in 2019. He was kind enough to come on our show a couple of times. He's the only Raider that's ever been here in the fan cave. We've actually had him here where he came in and sat down with us and did a live interview. And also he's he is the largest contributor to our nonprofit, the One Nation Foundation. And it's not from a corporation. It's not from the Bussin' with the Boys show. It's from Will himself. And so that kindness and that generosity, and I would hesitate to call him a friend because it's not like we're bros or something like that. Like we hang out a bunch, but we stay in contact by text and whatever. And the support that he gives our show and our foundation, most importantly, and the love that he's given back to Raider Nation and the way that he represents Raider Nation, like, that's been really, really cool. And especially since it's gone on from this not amazing playing career, but a 9-year veteran, a pretty good playing career, but onto an absolutely incredible podcasting career, one of the most popular sports podcasts that are out there, and Bussin' with the Boys. Like, that's pretty cool, man. I'm almost a bigger fan of him as a podcaster than I am of his when he was playing with the Raiders. But anyways, that's a good dude, man. Will Compton's a solid guy.
Dude, those moments when I watched your podcast, when you were doing it from like, the event at the Raider Stadium. Forgive me, I forgot the names, but I was watching it, and you guys were going live, and Raider players were walking in, signing jerseys, getting on your podcast. Murf, your face made my entire year. Every time you were watching players. I was like, oh my God, I wish I was Murph's co-host. I wish I was able to be there. I was watching you. I was like, oh my God, this is the best moment I've ever seen from my friend. And I love
it. Thank you.
Dude. Your face is beautiful, dude. Such a blessing when I watched it. You guys, find that video from last year, dude. It's freaking the best. Pirate 1975, God bless you. Thank you for the donation.
Oh, thank you.
Best Raiders content creators on the tube. Hit the damn button. Go Raiders.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you so much. Now, my best Raider player interactions, I'm going to give you two because they're both up there in the lore of Raiders, and I can't pick one. When I became an actor many years ago and I got an agent, I got a job on a movie of the week. It was called Mike Hammer's Murder in Las Vegas. And they filmed it at Universal Studios. It was called Mike Hammer's Murder in Las Vegas. And it was written by, I think, Mickey Spillane, or it starred Mickey Spillane or something like that back in the days. Robert Spillane. But Jim Carrey was one of the leads in that project. It was one of his first projects with Jim Carrey. And I went onto the set and I met Jim Carrey, but he wasn't in any scenes with me. And I worked with the actor that played Mike Hammer. I forgot his name. But they were filming a scene later in the day, and when I walked by the trailers, it said Lyle Alzado.
Oh, nice.
On a sticker for 1988 or 89, whatever it was, movie Mike Hammer, Murder in Las Vegas. And I was a Raider fan. Typically around that time, I was like, yeah, I'm starting to be on board with the Raiders. They're my life. And I go, oh my God, this is Lyle Alzado. I knocked on the door, and he opened it up, and he said, yes, do they need me? Meaning like on the set, he thought I was a PA. And I was like, no, I'm a huge fan, and I wanted to meet you. And he goes, oh, good. Who are you? I said, I'm one of the actors. I have a little part in this movie, and I'm just a huge fan of yours. And he goes, oh, it's nice to meet you. What's your name? And then I didn't even ask him for an autograph. I wasn't collecting at that point in time, so I didn't do it. But I met Lyle Alzado before he passed. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years later. I don't know the exact date, but that was one of my biggest memories. And then I was friends with Screech or Dustin Diamond from whatever that show was, Head of the Class, not Head of the Class. What's the name of that? Saved by the Bell. My goodness. And then they were doing Saved by the Bell the college years, and Dustin Diamond, the actor that played Screech, we were good friends for many years. We did a movie together. He invited me to the set, and I was like, all right, I'll show up, because I was friends with Mario Lopez and a couple other people that were on the show. And he told me, bring a Mike Golick, like trading card or a pitcher or something, because was it Mike or Bob? It might have been Bob.
Bob.
I'm sorry, yeah, Bob. And he goes, bring a Bob Golick or something memorabilia, because he's on the show with us. And they were doing like their first or whatever episode. So I showed up. I brought a trading card. Oh, I should have brought it out. I have it right over there. But I met Bob Golick, and now I'm a big time Raider fan. And I brought a trading card from Topps, and he signed it in front of me. And he told me a couple of stories about playing with Lyle Alzado, because I told him the story about meeting Lyle Alzado. And those are just my two favorite moments. And then Tim Brown, one day when I mentioned my worst Raider moment in history on Twitter a couple years ago, I said it was when at Tim Brown or whatever had his 100th touchdown not as a Raider. I go, that was one of my worst moments in history. And then he commented back and he goes, mine too. So Tim Brown interacted with me on Twitter. So those are my favorite Raider moments.
Those are good ones, man. That Alzado one is legit, Mikey.
Yeah, that's go watch it. Go to imdbpro.com, look up all the cast, and it can't be debunked. It is not a lie. I do not lie, Raider Nation. I do not lie. I'm trying to become president. I do not lie. I'm trying to overtake Ice Cube as the president of the Raider Nation. I do not lie. I tell real Raider stories. Let's do the Q&A, guys. So Murf, maybe another 15 minutes, and then you mind taking questions from the audience?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, everybody. If you got any questions or any subject you would like to get Murf's opinion or my opinion, let's do it for another 10 minutes. And
can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can ask me a question as well.
Well, no, but do the questions have to be exclusively Raiders related?
No, not at all. Ask anything.
Word.
That's why it says ask us anything, Murf.
Oh.
Do you not see the clues in front of your face?
I don't read so good. I don't read so good.
All right, let's look at some comments. I don't know if Kenny Clark's doing a scam, but he's like, I have a whole bunch of cryptocurrency. I'm trying to cash out, and I'm going to share it with the nation. I don't want it to go to waste. That sounds a little scammy, a little scary.
Give it to the One Nation Foundation. OneNationFoundation.net.
There you go. Somebody needs to make a Raider coin, a Raider cryptocurrency. That'd be kind of cool. Simple question, but we'll respect it. Ruiz said, what do you think about AP? I just mentioned it. I love him. I'm excited. And I think he's bringing the Raiders back to at least some semblance of a foundation and a glory moving forward.
Yeah, I think
he's restored. Your opinion on AP?
Yeah, I think he's restored the culture of the Raiders. I think he's brought back what it means to be a Raider, and channeled into the mystique of what makes the Raiders great. And that started with Al Davis, was carried through on the field by guys like Ben Davidson, and we mentioned Jim Otto before, and Jack Tatum, and Kenny Stabler, and Kick-Head Ted, and Fred Biletnikoff, and all the Raider greats. And I think that Pierce has found a way to tap into that, and it's been amazing.
Cool. Let's hear about the Lewis Murphy jersey. Pigs thinks that's a Lewis Murphy jersey.
It is.
He thinks, oh, yours. I thought he was talking about mine.
It's because my name's Murphy.
Let's hear the story.
I'm a Murphy.
Murphy.
There you go.
This is actually a Jeff Hostetler jersey.
That's we share the same last name.
That's awesome. You didn't get a customized one? If you got a customized one, what number would you put on it?
12, because that's my favorite number, because that's my favorite player is Kenny Stabler.
It's my favorite number. That's the date of my birth, the 12th. I was born in 75. 7 plus 5 is 12.
Hey, I got something
go ahead.
cool.
Do whatever you're going to do. Do whatever
you're
going to do.
I'm going to get something behind you. I'm going to show you something cool.
It's probably going to be the Max Crosby painting. But that's a Jeff Hostetler jersey, everybody, from old school days.
Check this out. I got this at an auction. You see that?
That's an old school helmet.
It's Ken Stabler's practice helmet. It's got his name on the inside. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's just right there. It says Stabler.
No way. Let me bring that a little closer.
See it?
Wow. I do, right there.
Isn't that badass?
Man, that's an awesome collection. I just thought you had an old helmet. I didn't know it was signed.
No, they don't even have the logo right. It was from, because they used to get like secondary companies to do the logo. So look at how the helmet on it is all blown up, like a balloon. Isn't that wild? Like it's not even the right logo, because that's what they would wear it in practice, so it didn't matter. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, that is one of the most beautiful helmets I've ever seen. Trust me, I want that.
I'm bringing this to Bolitnikov. So how I know it's authentic is that I reached out to Kendra Stabler, his daughter, and I asked her, I said, is this like a legit piece? And she agreed, and she said it was. And so I'm taking this to Bolitnikov this year, and I'm going to show it to Fred. I'm going to make sure Fred signs off on it. And if it's legit, and if the Raiders want it, I'm going to donate it to them to put on display at Allegiant Stadium or wherever else they would want it. But it's
my God! Wow!
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Have you had the autograph authenticated, like by any professional or anything?
No, it wouldn't have been written by him. It would have been probably. Oh my gosh!
Oh, you said it had his name, so I thought he wrote an autograph. I see what you're saying.
No, it's just.
Yeah, they wrote the name, the equipment staff.
Yeah. Gosh dang, what's his name? We've only ever had two for the whole. God dang it! Romansky.
Yeah, the equipment staff. Yeah, the son is still on the team, right?
Yes, the Raiders have only ever had two equipment managers in the history of the team, Dick and Bob Romansky.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
I remember Run Run. You brought up memories of Run Run. I wish I could go pull out my trading card of Bob Golick to share that story with you, but I'll show it to other people at another time.
Frost WSA says proof of authenticity. I brought it to the JSA folks, and they won't do it because it's such a unique piece. There's no reference point for them. There's like nothing for them to reference it back to, because that's how they certify.
I didn't know that.
It's real. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Justin Fargas was a dog. I watched Justin Fargas play. I've met Justin Fargas on many occasions. He went to a high school out here, just a few miles away, called Notre Dame. One of my best friends went to Notre Dame, so I would go to the football games, and I knew Justin Fargas' father was an actor, so I kind of befriended him on many occasions. And then when he finally became a Raider, he was so thrilled. And he really gave it his all, and he had some good memories with the Raiders. So Justin Fargas, his father is like a big, like one of those Dolomite movie stars and all that other stuff.
He's Huggy Bear.
Oh, Huggy Bear, that's right. From the Starsky and Hutch, was it? Or what other show was that?
Yeah, Starsky. He was the pimp on Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah. And there's a movie where he has like fish in his shoes, and he walks out like a pimp with some big. It's like a Dolomite movie or something like that. Maybe that was Starsky and Hutch. I don't really remember.
That was making fun of it though. But I sat behind Justin Fargas on a flight one time, coming home from Atlanta.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got off the plane. I asked him if I could take a selfie with him, and he was like, "Okay." Really thrilled. Hey, great question by Lucio in there. Lucio
I'll get to it. Lucio Del Porta. Oakland Coliseum, LA Memorial, or current stadium, which one is the best home field? I mean, again, I'd like to call Las Vegas the best home field because it's more recent. I don't know if it's a home field, but from my knowledge, I only watched a lot of games at the LA Coliseum. So I only went to one Oakland game. So I'm going to say I love the LA Coliseum.
Yeah, I think home field, it's Oakland. I mean,
The word home means Oakland.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's not to disparage LA, Raider fans. And heck, one of my co-hosts, Michelle, like she's from LA. That's where her fandom was formed. And what we got to do is look at the heat map of Raiders fan radio. And the majority of our listeners are in Southern California. So there are so many awesome Raider fans in Southern California. But Oakland itself, like the games in Oakland, like it's not that. I've seen some great home crowds in Vegas. The game against the Chargers, when we knocked them out of the playoffs, that was an amazing football game, and that was an amazing crowd. And there wasn't a lot of blue and yellow in the crowd; it was mostly silver and black, and that was a great energy and a great environment. But it strives to replicate Oakland's energy, and I haven't seen it happen yet. I've been to, I don't know, 8 or 9 games now in Vegas. There's just no match for it, man. Oakland had its, the facility was a dump, but it was our dump. But the energy from the crowd, and I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that, and never will. And I'm a homer, like I'm from the Bay Area, and so that's, it's going to always be me no matter what. But yeah, I don't think Vegas is ever going to get that of what it was. And that's not a Vegas. I don't dislike Vegas games. Like I love going to Vegas for games, but it's okay that it's different. It's just a different energy.
Murf, say proverbial you.
The proverbial you.
Sorry, we had to get that in. It's been in every show, so we had to get that in.
Not you, Mikey, the proverbial you.
The proverbial you. B. Al said, "Is this the year we hear Murf rap?"
I hope so. Tell them the deal we have, Mikey.
Well, if the Raiders beat the Chiefs, Murf has to do an episode where he raps, and
Correct.
then he did it on his show a couple of years ago. Did you do it last year for Christmas?
No, because you and I weren't doing shows. But if you want to strike up the same deal, I will gladly do it. But I will only do it here. I want to do it here with.
Well, it would be kind of cool if you took that idea, since depending on when we do shows and my failures or whatever, but take it to your show as well, like
deal. Okay.
And that way you can mention my show, and then you could have that a part of your show. And then we loved it when you did it on my show, and I think you did it on your show as well, I think at one point.
I just did the one. It was on our show. But yeah, I'll be glad to do it. Yeah, I'll make the deal.
There it is. So we're going to say a thing called Put It on the Board. Maybe we're going to add a new segment to our show. Murf, if the Raiders beat the Chiefs in any time in the near future, you have to rap on on your show or this show, whichever one you're doing.
Deal.
So at the sound of 3, we say, put it on the board. 1, 2, 3.
Put it
on the board. Put it on the board. It's a fantasy football reference. I watch Fantasy Focus. It's one of those things.
Okay.
I just love it. I love doing it. All right. Let's get to the last couple questions, and then we'll do a closing out. Opinion: does wearing Chief colors take away once a Raider? F. John Gruden. In my opinion, I have a sour opinion of Gruden, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I didn't love that. That sucked when he showed up at Andy Reid. And I get him and Andy Reid are boys, but to don Chiefs colors, like he knew exactly what he was doing. Does it take it away? No. I mean, Gruden was so impactful and so important to our teams in the early 2000s. Like those memories and those successes, like those things don't go away. I mean, shit, he wore Buccaneers colors across the sideline from us and beat the hell out of us in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, wearing Chiefs colors at a practice isn't going to move the meter for me compared to that one. But no, I don't think so. What I do think takes away is if you outwardly speak out against the team, like Randy Moss or Warren Sapp or guys like that, then that takes away your once a Raider, always a Raider. I think there are exceptions to that rule that if you reject it openly, well, then you don't get the privilege of being a Raider.
Not trying to bring it back to conspiracy theories, but that Super Bowl sabotage, do you think Gruden had any hand in it? Or he kind of understood what was going on? Or did Bill Callahan do it himself?
I think
is it a conspiracy?
I think Bill Callahan is the biggest idiot that's ever coached, considering the idea that he didn't change any of the signals, any of the calls, anything when he was literally going up against the guy that invented the offense. I think it was the biggest oversight possibly in sports history. So no, was it a conspiracy? No. Was it an oversight and a major mistake? Yes.
Yeah, there's so you
don't take the NFL MVP and then all of a sudden, like, whenever I hear people talk shit about Rich Gannon in that Super Bowl, I'm like, you've lost your fucking mind. I'm like, the guy didn't go from being an MVP into throwing 5 interceptions just because he decided he was going to suck that day. Like, it's it's a dumbass take. Like, there was clearly something else going on there.
They held the playbook. Gruden had the playbook, in my opinion. That's it.
The book was in his head. He didn't even need to have the playbook. It was right. He literally invented it. And then they didn't make any changes at all. So there's poor Rich Gannon up there at the freaking line of scrimmage making audibles and making calls. And freaking Derek Brooks is going, oh, yeah, here's what they're doing, boys. Like,
did you watch my video that I made a few years back? The quality's not the best, but I made a little documentary called Who Held the Playbook? Super Bowl Sabotage. Have you ever watched that, Murf?
No, I've not, but I will go watch it.
Dude, I think it's on my channel, and I'll send it to you when I think about it. But I don't think it was an oversight. I think Bill Callahan wanted Gruden to win. He paid for Gruden 2 weeks later, his entire family to go to the Pro Bowl or whatever they were doing, and to change the playbook, a day before the game or 2 days before the game after practicing all week. I don't know. I think he did something because he didn't like the Raiders. Oh yeah. So I believe. Go on.
Abel Gomez says, "What's my rap name?" I'm gonna go with Murphy Murf and the Donut Bunch.
That's a good one. Good vibrations. It's Murphy Murf and the Donut Bunch. What would my rap name be? It'd probably be Mikey, the Conspiracy Raider, or the Conspiracy Rapper. I don't know. Can't think of anything. Trying to see if there's any other questions to take a final one. Sorry, forgive me.
Murf Killer. That's hilarious.
What did they call it? Murf Killer?
Yeah, Lucio and then Abel, another one. Murf in USA. That's funny.
Murf Hill Killer. Murf in USA.
That's funny. That's funny.
Did you have a nickname the last time you rapped?
No, I don't think so. Not that I remember, anyways.
Yeah, I want to rap again on this channel, but I got to find a beat that won't get copywritten. All right, we'll leave it at that, guys. First off, let me thank everybody for tuning in to the second episode of this season of Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Let's hope for more in the future, and I'm sure there will be, but bear with us. Please check out Murf on the Raiders Fan Radio, and any closing statements for the nation?
A Tribe Called Murf. That's my favorite. That's hilarious.
Oh, there we go.
That's so funny.
A Tribe Called Murf.
Oh my gosh. De La Murf. No, I just
90s bands.
Oh well, I love those are two of my favorites, man. I'm an old school guy. All that native tongue rap and that was the best.
Young Murf. Young Murf. Young MC Murf.
YUNG. Yeah. That'll be it. Well, hey, listen.
Funky Cold Murfadina. Funky Cold Murfadina.
Old ass Murf is what it needs to be. Anyways, I can't thank everybody enough for Sports Raiders Fan Radio. Most importantly, though, the One Nation Foundation. If you're not aware, the One Nation Foundation, we started it back in 2019 when we figured out we could make some money with our show, and we give 100% of the money that we away to Raiders-related charities like the Blitnikoff Foundation, the Max Crosby Foundation, and also the good folks at Raider Dad, who we're going to see this Friday at the tailgate. there in Las Vegas, where we're taking, I think we're up to 40 kids and their parental figures that we're taking to the game and providing not only a game experience for them, but also a tailgate. And I say we're providing, we're just the financial component to it. Josh Camonite and the Raider Dad folks are the ones that actually put the whole event together. They have press conferences set up for the kids. They have free food. They have, we got Harry Ruiz, the Raiders Spanish language announcers coming through. The Raiders themselves will be coming through. I think Hondo Carpenter's going to be there hanging out with us. Like, it's just a really good vibe and good energy that those folks put on. And that's all based on the generosity of Raider Nation. And so thank you very much, Raider Nation, for supporting, again, not only the foundation, but the show as well. We love you guys, and we'll see you each and every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, RaidersFanRadio.com. Wait, no, YouTube.com/RaidersFanRadio. And Mikey, I love you, dude. I don't give a shit how much we fight about the Raiders on this football team. I just want you to know that I love you so very much, man. And you're a freaking great friend. And that will never, that doesn't ever change despite our difference of opinions when it comes to the Raiders. Passionate takes is not a bad thing, brother.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm just a little bit of an insecure person. Even though I like the hot takes, I really don't like them. It sounds really, really weird. But that being said, again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All I can say is God bless you. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay Raider. And this has been Mondays with Mikey and Murf, where a few times a month or every year we talk Raiders and football dirt.
And thank you,
weird dance. Say it again.
And thank you, chat room. All the amazing people in the chat room tonight. Thank you for jumping in here and joining us, man. We love you guys. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
DJ Mikey and Fresh Murf. DJ Mikey and Fresh Murf. That's our name. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless you, and I'll see you on Raider Football Talk in a couple of days. And Murf, don't tune into my channel either later or tomorrow, because I'm going to have a whole Davante Adams video about everything that you don't want to hear. God bless you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Have a good time at the game, Murf.
Hey, brother.